Everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be a new video part of my 10 days of wear test, testing a bunch of best-selling foundations at Sephora, and then in the end I will be doing a wrap-up letting you know which ones were the best one or the worst ones on me, and then you can go back and look at the wear test because I'm going to be applying the foundation, giving my thoughts on it if I've already worn it a few times in the past, or it's going to be a first impression and then I'll have more time to test it, just showing you the coverage, how it looks on my skin, bringing it from the window, close-up and natural lighting and everything. So today is going to be on this Too Faced Peach Perfect Comfort Matte Foundation. I have definitely worn this in the past, so this video is not a first impression. So I mean, it's going to be a wear test anyway. This is supposed to give you a matte finish, medium coverage, and last, they say 14 hours, which I might not wear it for 14 hours, but we're gonna wear it as long as possible. So I don't have anything too crazy going on. I do have a few like little pimples and redness, but nothing that should be too hard to cover. So let me zoom you in and we're gonna be applying this. So I have the shade Porcelain and Nude, and they're definitely summer shades for me, which is when I usually tend to wear this. So I did swatch them. I'm waiting for them to fully dry so I can show you how much it oxidizes when it dries. So I'm going to be applying the color Porcelain. I feel like right now it would probably need to go a little lighter, probably something like Marshmallow maybe. That might be full winter shade, but we'll blend it down my neck. I think it should be nothing too crazy because it's not full coverage. So it is a squeezy tube with a pump, which I really enjoy this. My Holy Grail BB cream is like that, so I enjoy it. I feel like you can get every single last bit in there. So this is what the consistency is like. It has a very strong fruity fragrance. They say peach perfect, but to me it smells more like the fig that's in there, which I'm kind of indifferent, I guess. I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. You don't necessarily smell it as the day goes on, but if you are sensitive to fragrance, not for you. So let's do half. You can see I have some redness. Let's see how much coverage we can get. I tend to use this foundation mostly, again, during the summer whenever I need to stay matte, but I don't want to have like too much foundation on. I'm using a sponge just because it's my preferred way of applying it. I feel like I can get a thinner amount spread very naturally. That way it still looks like skin. But if you want more coverage, obviously a brush is going to be the way to go. Some foundation don't react well with the sponge. I feel like, especially if they're waterproof and long wearing, sometimes they just tend to like sit on top of your skin. Not an issue with that one, which is why I enjoy it. Oh, the color might not be too bad. It kind of matches my neck. My face is always much lighter because I'm way more consistent with sunscreen on my face. Oh, I didn't mention it. I have combination skin, but I am quite dehydrated. Again, the fall is approaching. My skin is telling me way in advance. So my T-zone will get oily, especially my forehead, but I will get dehydration patches on my nose, chin, and then between my brows. I feel like Sephora has a tendency of listing every skin type for each foundation, kind of like, oh yeah, it works for everyone, but they don't necessarily. This one definitely says normal, oily, or combination. So if you have dry skin, I definitely feel like this would be too dry, and you would have to like apply an oil or something beforehand, which, I mean, if you really want to, you could, but I think there are other products out there that are better for you like that. But what I like about it is that it is matte on its own. I feel like a lot of foundations, especially the long wearing ones, you have to set them. Otherwise they kind of stay sticky. I feel like this one definitely has a powdery finish on its own. You're going to see that better in front of the window because right now it is early in the morning, so the sun is like hitting me and I feel like it kind of blurs everything, which looks great for video, I guess, but not for review. But you can still kind of tell that, okay, maybe it is a bit yellow. This side is definitely more even. I applied it really thin amount because, again, a sponge. But I feel like it gives me a very natural finish. My only complaint is that if you have a lot of dehydration, it might emphasize it a little bit. In my case, it's pretty much impossible for foundation not to. But it's the fact that my pores are not blurred at all, which I feel like I don't expect a foundation to blur them like every single foundation, but it's always nice when they do. And I feel like this one emphasizes them a tiny bit. I rarely mention my pores in these videos because I feel like most foundations are fine, but this one just a little bit. So I feel like during the summer I tend to apply maybe a little primer or something right there just to prevent the look. Just for fun, let me try. I don't know if you're going to be able to see from this camera, but you can see I do have a bit of dehydration. The foundation is not making it worse. That's definitely my skin, which again in every video I say, but still. But yeah, those are my pores, which we all have, but you know what I mean. And you can see that I definitely had some discoloration, you know, some redness and everything. So it definitely covered everything with a very thin amount, which is kind of what I like. I don't necessarily feel like I'm wearing a ton of foundation. And if you don't have super oily skin, you could literally just wear it that way and not set it. For consistency's sake, I will set it with a tiny bit of powder, but I feel like personally, let me zoom you out. I feel like personally, I don't need to apply powder right away, but I will throughout the day. My sponge just went away. I will throughout the day just to keep it matte, but obviously that I won't do for today because I want to show you what it looks like on its own. And then I'll show you how much they oxidize once dried. Because this color at first looks quite yellow for me. I'm definitely more neutral to cool, but once it's fully dry, I don't feel like it's that yellow. Yeah, as I was mentioning, for me, this is a good foundation. I really like using it during the summer. My only complaint and thing that would make me like rethink repurchasing it is the scent. Like the more I use it, the more I'm like, I don't really like fig, but obviously if you love it, you love it. But I like the way it looks. This is Porcelain Wet. You can see it's a tiny bit yellow and it dries a bit more neutral. So that's the one I'm wearing right now. And then Nude, you have the wet one and then the dry one. I really like the undertone of that one. I feel like that one is better for me, but this is definitely a summer shade for me. So I think that ideally I would have to go a shade lighter and try to find something a bit more neutral. But I don't think this is a bad match. Like I feel like the lights again are a bit unforgiving at this time of the day, but I'll show you in a bit. So just be aware it does dry a bit more closer to the undertone that it's supposed to be. So in my case, they look a bit yellow at first and then become a bit more neutral cool. So yeah. So I'm gonna go on, do the rest of my makeup, and then I will bring you in front of a window for the up close and personal clips. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so I applied the rest of my makeup and I wanted to show you what the foundation looks like in natural lighting because it looks great. So you can see from this distance, everything went well on top of it. It's not looking anything crazy or anything. My nose is looking slightly dehydrated. That's probably why I tend to avoid wearing it at this time of the year. But if you've seen any of the other videos, this is not bad at all considering this is definitely my skin. I feel like the powder made it worse, so I feel like it's going to look better once it's not. You can see the rest of my skin is looking great. No issue there. It covered everything I wanted to cover. Oops. Oh, actually my chin. And my chin. I've had a dry patch there for a little while. So the foundation is definitely looking great right now. I don't think it needed the powder, but again, consistency. I think that in a couple of hours it's going to look better. But yes, very comfortable, no issue with it, and I will be wearing it as long as possible, and I'll see you after. So here we are 10 hours later, and I wanted to update you on the foundation. Things are going great, to be honest. I feel like it's just in the last hour that my forehead has become more shiny, which is pretty good. I feel like if you've seen other of those videos, you definitely see that usually my forehead is like way shinier than it is right now. So it definitely is a mattifying foundation. I still feel like it looks good from a distance. I would say that my nose is the place where it's not looking great because of the dehydration. Shocking. It seems to be the case with most foundations for me. I do feel like I really like the way it looks all over except where I have that dehydration. So again, they don't claim that it works for dry skin, and I wouldn't recommend it for dry skin unless, you know, you live somewhere really hot and humid and you're not that dry maybe. But I think that for me kind of proves that I should continue sticking to it just for the summer unless my skin is doing really great, or maybe I apply a bit more oil or something, more moisturizer beforehand, because damn, I look flawless everywhere except there. So, and I really appreciate how I just started becoming oily. I would definitely stick to my usual of not applying powder because I do feel like it looks better. I felt like it looked a little powdery for a while. Now I feel like it looks much better. Let me show you. So obviously my forehead is a bit shiny, but really nothing crazy. And this is the tricky part. But this is what it looks like from up close. That side is not too bad, to be honest. You can see that my cheeks looks pretty flawless. The chin, there's that little dry patch here, and it's probably this side where things are kind of but to be honest, that side has been struggling lately. If you've seen other of those videos, again, you may have noticed that bit is just having a tough time at the moment. But yeah, this isn't looking too great, the nose in general, but the rest of my face is looking so good, and my forehead too, which, like, look at this. Crazy, so good. So yeah, overall it's doing great. I'm trying to see if I have, yep. let me just do this because I'm curious if it transfers. It's not supposed to, and I don't think it does, but nah, there's no transfer. So confirms. And honestly, now I don't even need to repowder. See, now I would be good to go for a couple more hours. Don't even need to repowder anything. So personally, it is a really, really great foundation. I just wish it didn't have that scent, and maybe it was slightly less dehydrating or emphasizing my dehydration a tiny bit less. But I feel like if that is because it stays so matte, then I'm fine with it. I will continue to use this during the summer and enjoy it during that time of the year. I might be very high maintenance and just use it everywhere except my nose and use something else on my nose. I've definitely done that, like using concealer and stuff, because I feel like sometimes foundations don't stick well to my nose. So maybe I will play with that because I really, really like the way it looks. So this foundation is a thumbs up for me. If you have oilier skin, normal to oily, I do recommend it. I love the way it looks. They do have a good shade range now. I feel like at first it came out with just a couple, which is probably why I have Porcelain, not the one lighter. But I will not be getting it because, again, I don't think it's going to work for me during the winter. But overall, it's a thumbs up. This is it for the wear test. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comment section if you have tried this foundation, what do you think about it? Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe because you definitely don't want to miss the wrap up coming up very soon. And I will be putting on the screen other videos that I've done that I recommend you check out, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.